Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Manoj Singh Rana with the evening news. The headlines: Centre states to reporting surge in COVID-19 cases to take high effective measures to contain active cases and daily deaths. COVID-19 situation in 11 states and union territories a matter of grave concern, says government. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal rules out lockdown in the city in view of rising coronavirus cases. Over 6 crore 87 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccines administered in the country so far. New Delhi says there is consensus between India and China to quickly resolve remaining issues along line of actual control in eastern Ladakh. Campaigning intensifies for remaining phases of assembly elections in West Bengal and Assam, as well as single-phase election in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry. Centre releases 4,608 crore rupees to states for providing grant in aid to local bodies. Good Friday commemorating the day of crucifixion of Jesus Christ being observed with solemnity. And in tennis, Roberto Bautista Agut to face Yannick Sinner in men's singles semi-finals of Miami Open tonight. As the number of COVID cases is on the rise again, we appeal to our listeners not to lower their guard, follow all precautions and all those above 45 years to get vaccinated without any hesitation. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. The centre has asked the states reporting surge in COVID-19 cases to take immediate and high effective measures to ensure containment of active cases and daily deaths through adherence of the standard clinical management protocol. 11 states and union territories including Maharashtra, Punjab, Karnataka, Delhi and Haryana and Chhattisgarh have been categorized as states of grave concern on account of rising daily cases and higher deaths. Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba today chaired a high-level review meeting with Chief Secretaries, DG Police and Health Secretaries of all states and union territories. During the meeting, it was pointed out that Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, along with peri-urban areas, have recorded the recent rise in COVID cases. It was also highlighted that the spread of infection from these areas to the rural areas with weak health infrastructure would overwhelm the local administration. The states have been asked to increase testing continuously to ensure that positivity comes down to 5% or less. Focus on ensuring RT-PCR tests comprise 70% of total tests and setting up of containment zones and micro-containment zones to break the chain of transmission were also advised. More from our correspondent.
During the meeting, states were also asked to examine case fatality rate hospital-wise, devise appropriate strategy and mitigate concerns regarding late admission in hospitals and non-adherence to National Clinical Management Protocol. The need to formulate district action plans with a focus on mapping of cases, reviewing of ward and block-wise indicators, 24/7 emergency operations center, incident command system and timely sharing of information was stressed upon. In order to minimize the daily fatalities, the states were advised on strengthening of public and private healthcare resources. During the meeting, it was stressed that the message of Dawai Bhi Kadai Bhi should be effectively and profusely spread through multimedia and multilateral platforms. In order to saturate vaccination for priority age groups in district reporting surges in Delhi COVID cases, the states and UTs were advised for time-bound plan of 100% vaccination of eligible healthcare workers, frontline workers and eligible age groups and coordination with Union Health Ministry to ensure adequate vaccine doses. With Divakar Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
Taking note of the present situation due to the continuous deterioration of the COVID scenario over a fortnight, the Cabinet Secretary pointed out that the current COVID case growth rate of 6.8% last month has surpassed the previous record of 5.5% in June 2020. The country also reported 5.5% growth rate in daily COVID deaths in this period. The Cabinet Secretary exhorted the Chief Secretaries to galvanize the state administration and to use all resources at their disposal to tackle the recent surge of COVID cases. It was emphasized that the centre continues to provide all resources and support to all states and UTs for public health measures and clinical management for fighting COVID-19. During the meeting, the Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan highlighted the current trajectory of COVID in the states and union territories, while Information and Broadcasting Secretary Amit Kere showcased ways of effective behavioral change communication to instill COVID-appropriate behavior among the populace. Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul emphasized on the need for states to follow a protocol for sharing clinical and epidemiological data for more detailed study of the mutant strain of the virus for genome sequencing. Union Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla pointed out that the 11 states and union territories that are showing a surge in daily COVID cases have not shown commensurate increase in enforcement of containment activities. He urged the Chief Secretaries and DGPs of these states to take appropriate, strict action in this regard.
The total COVID-19 vaccination has crossed 7 crore doses in the country. The Union Health Ministry in a tweet said that it is a landmark achievement for India in its fight against COVID-19. The Health Ministry informed that more than 81,000 new cases have been reported in the country in last 24 hours. Amid the rising new cases, the recovery rate has declined to 93.67%. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has said that there is no plan to impose lockdown in Delhi in view of the rising cases of coronavirus in the national capital. Mr. Kejriwal was briefing the media after holding a meeting with officials in view of the prevailing COVID-19 situation in the country. Mr. Kejriwal said the situation is being monitored and in the future, if the need for a lockdown arises, the government will consult the people before taking any such decision. He said there is no need to panic as the government is taking all appropriate measures to control the spread of virus. He said the national capital is facing the 4th wave of the pandemic, but it is not as serious as the previous ones.
In a significant step to exponentially expand the countrywide vaccination drive, the centre has decided to operationalize both public and private sector COVID vaccination centres on all days this month. The centre has written to all the states and union territories and asked them to make necessary arrangements to provide COVID vaccination in these centres on all days of the month, including gazetted holidays. Meanwhile, COVID-19 vaccination for persons above 45 years of age is gaining momentum. India's immunization drive, which began on the 16th of January this year, is the world's largest vaccination program. Healthcare and frontline workers got inoculated first, then it was extended to people over 60 years of age and people with comorbidities, and from yesterday onwards, people above the age of 45 and without any comorbidities are being given the jabs.
Congress General Secretary Bianca Vadra has put herself in isolation after she was exposed to COVID-19. In a video posted on Twitter, the Congress leader said she had been tested negative yesterday. She is self-isolating herself for a few days on the advice of doctors. She has cancelled her election programs. Her husband, Robert Vadra, has tested positive for coronavirus. The News Services Division of All India Radio and its bilingual live phone-in program tonight will bring you a special discussion on COVID-19. Dr. Anup Marar of Orange City Hospital and Research Centre in Nagpur will participate in the discussion. This can be heard on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free telephone number 1800-111-5767. I repeat, 1800-111-5767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444. I repeat, 011-2331-4444, and post queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by using hashtag AskAIR. The External Affairs Ministry has said there is a consensus between India and China that two sides should quickly resolve remaining issues along the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh. The ministry spokesperson Arindam Bakshi was responding to a media query on the border standoff with China.
There is a consensus that the two sides should quickly resolve the remaining issues along the LAC in eastern Ladakh. This engagement in Pangong Lake area was a significant step forward, and it has provided a good basis for resolution of the other remaining issues along the LAC in the western sector. At both the senior commanders meeting and the WMCC, the two sides held detailed exchange of views on the remaining issues.
Mr. Bakshi said the two sides continue to remain in touch through military and diplomatic channels.
The two sides continue to remain in touch through military and diplomatic channels. As EM had pointed out to his Chinese counterpart, a prolongation of the situation in neither side's interest. We therefore hope that the Chinese side will work with us to ensure that the disengagement in the remaining areas is completed at the earliest. This would allow both sides to consider de-escalation forces in eastern Ladakh, as that alone will lead to restoration of peace and tranquility and provide conditions for progress of our overall bilateral relationship.
The spokesperson also informed that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend the climate summit to be held virtually on the 22nd and 23rd of April. US President Joe Biden had invited Mr. Modi for this summit, and the Prime Minister has accepted the invitation.
India today condemned the violence in Myanmar and called for the release of political prisoners. Briefing media, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said New Delhi believes that the rule of law should prevail and it stands for the restoration of democracy in Myanmar.
We condemn any use of violence. We believe that the rule of law should be prevailed. We stand for the restoration of democracy in Myanmar. We have urged the release of political prisoners and supported any attempts at resolving the current situation, including through the efforts of ASEAN. We remain engaged on this issue with our international interlocutors and at the United Nations Security Council in an effort to play a balanced and constructive role.
In Jammu and Kashmir, 3 terrorists of banned outfit Al-Badr were killed in an encounter with security forces in Pulwama district this morning. The police said a joint team of security forces launched a coordinated search operation at Mohalla Ghat in Kakapura town of the district, following intelligence inputs about the presence of terrorists there. As the joint team approached the suspected spot, the terrorists fired upon them, and in retaliation 3 terrorists were gunned down. Incriminating material, arms and ammunition were also recovered from their possession.
You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Centre asks states reporting surge in COVID-19 cases to take high effective measures to contain active cases and daily deaths. COVID-19 situation in 11 states and union territories a matter of grave concern, says government. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal rules out lockdown in the city in view of rising coronavirus cases. India crosses another landmark of administering over 7 crore doses of COVID-19 vaccine. New Delhi says there is consensus between India and China to quickly resolve remaining issues along line of actual control in eastern Ladakh. Campaigning intensifies for remaining phases of assembly elections in West Bengal and Assam, as well as single-phase elections in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry. Centre releases 4,608 crore rupees to states for providing grant-in aid to the local bodies. Good Friday, commemorating the day of crucifixion of Jesus Christ, being observed with solemnity. And in tennis, Roberto Bautista Agut to face Yannick Sinner in men's single semi-finals of Miami Open tonight. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the evening news. After the completion of the first and second phase of assembly elections in Assam and West Bengal, focus has now shifted to the campaigning for the remaining phases in the 2 states. 8-phase election is being held in West Bengal, while Assam is witnessing 3-phase assembly election this time. Polling for the 3rd phase will be held on the 6th of this month for 40 seats in Assam and 31 seats in West Bengal. On the same day, single-phase voting will also take place for assembly elections in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry. Senior leaders of various parties held rallies in the 4 poll-bound states and the Union Territory to woo the voters. Senior BJP leader and Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed several election rallies in Tamil Nadu and Kerala today. Speaking at Agadishwaram in Tamil Nadu, Mr. Modi said his government was instrumental in implementing schemes which were pending for more than 50 years. Speaking at a rally in Kanyakumari, Mr. Modi said his government is concerned about the welfare of the fishermen in Tamil Nadu, and due to his government's efforts, no Indian fisherman is in jail in Sri Lanka. Mr. Modi also addressed a public meeting at Tonga Nagaram in Madurai. DMK leader M.K. Stalin alleged that BJP is attempting to gag his party workers and family just because of their popularity. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi also criticized BJP for the IT raids on the DMK leader's family member. IT raids were also conducted in some of the AIADMK leaders' houses and offices. Senior AIADMK leader Mr. Palanisamy alleged that the DMK-Congress combine is misleading the people about the AIADMK rule. Our Chennai correspondent has filed this report.
With just 2 more days for electioneering to end, campaigning is vigorous in all the districts of the state. Whirlwind tours of star campaigners have brought in a vibrant political atmosphere in all the nook and corners of Tamil Nadu. The district administration is busy in issuing booth slips to voters. District electoral officers are also checking out EVMs and VVPAT to ensure zero errors in the machines. Electoral flying squads have seized a total of 406 crore rupees worth cash, gift articles and gold without proper documents. Smuggled liquor and drugs were also seized. Cases have been filed against those who tried to bribe the voters through various means. IT raids are continuing at different places in the state. With Murthy, Joy, AIR News, Chennai.
Earlier, Prime Minister Modi held an election rally at Konni at Pathanamthitta in Kerala. He said people of the state want the development agenda of the NDA. In Assam, star campaigners of various parties addressed rallies today for the third phase of polls. National President of the BJP, JP Nadda, Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal and AIUDF President Badruddin Ajmal held poll rallies. Congress leader Randeep Singh Surjewala held a press meet in Guwahati. In West Bengal, an interesting contest is being witnessed as several senior leaders and cine stars are in the fray in the third phase of assembly polls. 3 districts, Hooghly, Howrah and South 24 Parganas are going to polls in the third phase. Star campaigners and stalwarts of BJP, Trinamool Congress and CPM-led Sanjukta Morcha held multiple rallies and road shows to garner votes in favour of their party candidates. Senior BJP leader and Union Home Minister Amit Shah today held roadshow along with his party colleague and Union Minister Nityanand Rai in Baruipur Paschim in South 24 Parganas district of West Bengal. Earlier in the day, Mr. Shah addressed 2 consecutive election rallies in North Bengal. TMC Chief Mamata Banerjee addressed a rally at Dinhata constituency in Uluberia Dokhin Assembly segment of Howrah district. Sitting MLA of TMC Pulak Roy is trying his best to secure his second consecutive victory.
BJP, which finished third position in 2016 assembly elections, has fielded this time a new candidate, the film star Papia Adhikari from Uluberia Dakshin constituency. 5 years ago, the party had given ticket to Gautam Mukherjee, who was second runner-up. On the other hand, the 6-party mega alliance Sanjukta Morcha has expressed its faith on Sheikh Kutubuddin Ahmad of All India Forward Bloc AIFB. Once upon, the Uluberia Dakshin seat was termed as the citadel of the party because the AIFB held the seat for 6 times from 1977 to 2006, barring a jolt in 1987 assembly elections. Over 237,000 electors will decide the electoral fortune of 7 nominees, including 2 independents. Dharmendra Kumar Rai, AIR News, Uluberia, Howrah.
The BJP today approached the Election Commission demanding action against TMC leader and West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee over yesterday's incident in Nondigram. A party delegation comprising Union Ministers Prakash Zavadekar and Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi met the Commission in New Delhi. Talking to reporters, Mr. Zavadekar said the Chief Minister has created unrest near the polling booth by organising her supporters and addressing the media during the polling time and tried to create vicious atmosphere in the area. He said it is a clear violation of poll norms and the BJP has demanded action against Ms. Banerjee. The Congress today met the Election Commission over the Assam EVM controversy. Talking to reporters after the meeting in New Delhi, party leader Ashwini Kumar said the incident of EVM being carried in a private vehicle of a BJP candidate is a serious violation of poll norms. He said the Congress has demanded a probe into the matter and urged the Commission to ensure effective implementation of poll guidelines.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has said that the medium of instruction up to the primary school level must be the mother tongue or the local language. He said many studies have catalogued the advantages of studying in one's mother tongue during early schooling. Attending the 600th birth anniversary of the renowned Odia sage poet Adikobi Sarala Das at Cuttack in Odisha this evening, the Vice President also called upon the administration and judiciary to use the local language to effectively communicate with the people. We have a report.
Referring to Adikabi Sarala Das as the father of modern Odia language, the Vice President said that the poet was a pioneer in democratizing literature through the use of colloquial language as early as in the 15th century. He said that the Odia Mahabharata, authored by Sarala Das, is indeed a masterpiece that mimics the flow of colloquial language for effective communication. Underlining the enduring and endearing nature of colloquial language, the Vice President called upon all concerned to promote mother tongues in the respective states. In the event organized by Sarala Sahitya Center, the Vice President honored Viswabhushan Arechandan, Governor of Andhra Pradesh, with the prestigious Kalinga Ratna Samman. Many dignitaries, including Professor Ganeshi Lal, Governor of Odisha, and Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, were present on the occasion in the Millennium City of Cuttack. Girish Chandra Das, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
The Finance Ministry has released an amount of 4,608 crore rupees to states for providing grant in aid to local bodies. The grants are both for the rural local bodies and urban local bodies. The grants have been released as per the recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission.
The Indian Railways has logged highest ever electrification of sections covering over 6,000 route kilometre in a single year during 2020-21. Despite COVID-19 pandemic, it has surpassed the previous highest of over 5,000 kilometre route achieved in 2018-19. The Indian Railways has given a lot of emphasis on electrification in the recent years to reduce the country's dependence on imported petroleum-based energy. The Indian Railways will start the services of 71 unreserved mail and express trains from Monday. In a tweet, Railways Minister Piyush Goyal said these trains will ensure safety and comfortable journey for the passengers. A weekly Rajdhani Superfast special train will also run between Hazrat Nizamuddin and Sikandrabad from Sunday.
The government has clarified that CGHS beneficiaries who get COVID vaccine at private empanelled hospitals will not be reimbursed. It was claimed on social media that pensioners will get reimbursement through CGHS if they take vaccines at private hospitals. In a tweet, the Press Information Bureau has termed the claim as fake. Good Friday is being observed today. It commemorates the day of crucifixion of Jesus Christ. On this day, Jesus Christ sacrificed his life out of love for everyone and while suffering for the sins of humanity. On the occasion of Good Friday, people wish one another strength and happiness. However, due to the recent surge in COVID-19 cases, observance of Good Friday has been restricted. The Easter celebrations will begin on the following Sunday on April the 4th. In his message on the day, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu appeals to all to emulate Jesus Christ's teachings and follow the path shown by him. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said Jesus Christ is a perfect embodiment of compassion who was devoted to serving the needy and healing the sick.
World Autism Awareness Day is observed today. The day is observed every year on the 2nd of April to raise awareness about people living with autistic spectrum disorders, including autism and Asperger's syndrome. According to United Nations, this year the theme of the day is inclusion in the workspace, challenges and opportunities in a post-pandemic world. Autism is a lifelong neurological condition that manifests during early childhood, irrespective of gender, race or socio-economic status. Appropriate support, accommodation and acceptance of this neurological variation allows those with autism to enjoy equal opportunity. In tennis, defending champion Ashley Bharti will meet Canada's Bianca Andhrisku in the women's singles final of Miami Open tomorrow. In the men's singles, 7-seed Spaniard Roberto Bautista Agut will face Italian teenager Yannick Sinner in the semi-finals tonight as per the Indian Standard Time. Bautista Agut beat top seed Daniil Medvedev 6-4, 6-2, while Sinner overcame Alexander Bublik 7-6, 6-4 in the quarter-finals. The other semi-final is between 4th seed Russian Andrei Rublev and Hubert Hurkacz of Poland tomorrow morning. In men's doubles, Croatian team of Nikola Mektic and Mate Pavic has set up summit clash with British pair of Dan Evans and Neil Skupski tomorrow.
India is celebrating the 10th anniversary of its unforgettable triumph in the 2011 ODI World Cup today. On the 2nd of April in 2011, India lifted the World Cup on home soil to send the entire country into euphoria. India had previously won the prized trophy in 1983 and had to wait a long time to clinch their second ODI World Cup trophy. Led by Andhrisku, India defeated Sri Lanka in the final at Kere Stadium in Mumbai. Here is a desk report.
On that day, Sri Lanka had set India's stiff target with Mahela Jayawardene's unbeaten century, propelling them to 274 for 6. Thisara Pereira's late blitz of 22 of 9 balls had given the Lankans the momentum going into India's chase. India got off to the worst possible start with Virender Sehwag sent back to the pavilion on the second ball. His opening partner Sachin Tendulkar didn't stick around too long either, as he was dismissed in the 7th over to put India on the back foot. But an 83-run partnership between Gautam Gambhir and Virat Kohli steadied India and brought them back into the contest. After Kohli's dismissal, Dhoni promoted himself and with Gambhir forged a 109-run stand to take India within touching distance. Gambhir fell 3 short of a deserved century and in walked the player of the World Cup, Yuvraj Singh. The stylish left-hander along with skipper Dhoni got India over the line with 10 balls to spare, with the latter remaining unbeaten on 91 of just 79 balls. Dhoni finished it off with a 6 of the bowling of Nuwan Kulasekara, with Yuvraj enveloping his teammate in a hug in joyous scenes that will stay forever in the memories of the Indian fans. With Uttam Vishwas's report, this is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay, AIR News.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is likely to have a clear sky. The temperature will hover between 15 and 35 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be 24, while the maximum is expected to be around 34 degrees Celsius. Chennai is expected to have heat wave. The temperature will vary between 29 and 40 degrees Celsius. In Kolkata, it will have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. The city will observe minimum temperature of 26 and a maximum of around 36 degrees Celsius. Srinagar will witness mainly clear sky. Temperature will hover between 4 and 23 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have a mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be 12 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 31. Leh will have a partly cloudy sky. The minimum temperature will be -4 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be 11 degrees. Gilgit will have mainly clear sky. The temperature will hover between 12 and 26 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards the afternoon or evening. The temperature will hover between 19 and 32. In Dehradun, the minimum temperature will be 14 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 31. Chandigarh will have mainly clear sky. The temperature is likely to hover between 13 and 33 degrees Celsius. In Hyderabad, the minimum temperature will be 23, while the maximum will be around 39 degrees. The city will witness partly cloudy sky.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Centre asks states reporting surge in COVID-19 cases to take high effective measures to contain active cases and daily deaths. COVID-19 situation in 11 states and union territories a matter of grave concern, says government. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal rules out lockdown in the city in view of rising coronavirus cases. India crosses another landmark of administering over 7 crore doses of COVID-19 vaccine. New Delhi says there is consensus between India and China to quickly resolve remaining issues along line of actual control in eastern Ladakh. Campaigning intensifies for remaining phases of assembly elections in West Bengal and Assam, as well as single-phase election in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry. Centre releases 4,608 crore rupees to states for providing grant in aid to local bodies. Good Friday commemorating the day of crucifixion of Jesus Christ being observed with solemnity. And in tennis, Roberto Bautista Agut to face Yannick Sinner in men's singles semi-finals of Miami Open tonight. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.